Brian Stelter is out at CNN. We have record-breaking numbers for illegal immigration, numbers we have never actually seen in the history of the United States. And we have documents showing that a Sacramento school district has been pushing this gender theory ever since 2012. All that and more here on The Bald Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Friday, August 19th, and as always, couldn't be happier than to end this week off right, doing The Bald Brad Show and hanging out with American patriots such as yourself, where we come together as a community of conservatives, Republicans, and heck, sometimes independents, go over the stories of the day, and bring you all the news and information you need to know about. So if you want to join us here at The Bald Brad Show, and we hope that you do, we got a heck of a community here, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're over at Rumble, hit the plus and give us a comment down below. And if you're listening on any of the podcast airwaves, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc., folks, you can find us anywhere and everywhere. Leave us a lovely 5-star review. Not only are you helping a conservative, but most importantly, you're supporting getting conservative thought and ideas out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. And heck, folks, I would say now more than ever is a time to support your fellow conservatives. Not just me, but others out there. Steven Crowder just got banned for 2 weeks on YouTube. He doesn't even know why. We talked about how Facebook, TikTok's going to start implementing their election policies coming up for the midterms. In other words, they're the truth police. They're the ministry of truth. The council of truth is what I'm calling them. So there could be a possibility that I'm going to get banned or removed here or suspended for a while for what I say and do. It's only a matter of time. That's why you got to hop on and subscribe now so you can stay up to date with what the heck is going on here. Furthermore, a lot of news here this week, but especially today in terms of recycled news. And what I mean by that is this. Remember when Joe Biden just woke up from his nap one day and decided to pull out of Afghanistan and 13 American soldiers got blown up? And then we left just tons of military grade equipment behind. And we went over literally the numbers of what was left behind. We went through the Humvees, the Black Hawks, the different types of helicopters, the different types of weaponry that we left behind. I mean, we're talking in the thousands. So Fox News is running the story, which I think they should do, of how we left $7 billion of military grade equipment to the Taliban. And then our intelligence community, our government's going, I can't believe that they took over the country as quick as they did. You left them literally $7 billion of military grade equipment. It doesn't take a freaking rocket science to figure out how the hell that happened, right? You got this Dollard in office that was elected by Democrats, supposedly 82 million people, which I'm still baffled about. Waking up delusional, pulling out of a country just willy-nilly and leaving $7 billion of military grade equipment. And then you can't fathom how they took that equipment and basically just ran roughshod over an entire country. So you have that going on. You also have the Mar-a-Lago thing happening still. Not really much is coming out from that, other than the fact that people want the documents revealed, as do I. But if they are to reveal it, they're just going to sit there and black out everything, folks. They're going to get rid of the names, the locations, the freaking, all the good stuff, right? All the meat. Why release it in the first place then, right? It's only going to create more of a hubbub. I want to see it just as much as you do, but if they're going to just black out everything, you might as well just not even release it. It's not even worth it. You have Joe Biden still on vacation. There's like a ton of photos of this guy just riding his bike on the beach. I didn't think a lot of people actually rode on the sand like he does. But can we get him off the bike? I mean, he fell stationary. Can we just have him go golfing or just sitting down? For the love of God, just get the man off the bike. Stop doing all this athletic stuff that we know that he's not capable of actually doing for a long period of time. You also have Karine Jean-Pierre not being chauffeured out. She's not going to answer any questions because we all know that she's going to fumble, stumble, lie about it. So maybe she's on vacation with Biden. I don't know where the hell she's been. I missed the Peter Doocy, Karine Jean-Pierre stuff as much as I'm sure all of you guys do. So not a lot of news, but the news I have for you today is important. Let's start with our lead story here with some good news. I mean, it's Friday, folks. It's been a long week, okay, for all of us. Let's start with some freaking phenomenal news and news we've been waiting for here. Brian Stelter, folks, of CNN, who has been long criticized for bias against conservatives, Fox News, former President Donald Trump, told NPR, National Public Radio, he's leaving CNN as the cable network is canceling reliable sources. The name within itself is just outlandish, Orwellian. He's not a reliable source. He's a freaking biased source. We all know who he is. And I don't know if you remember, I was talking about this a while ago of when they're having some change up in the executives of CNN. I'm like, how the hell is Don Lemon and Brian Stelter, Anderson Cooper, like these guys still your freaking lineup? They suck. Your ratings suck. So why would these guys be your lineup? Turns out I was right, folks. It just took a couple months for CNN to wake up and realize, man, this guy's show is terrible. He's not getting any ratings. Wait till we just get to the details of it. You're going to laugh. It's hilarious. Stelter, CNN's chief media correspondent, told NPR in a statement that he's grateful for the show and his team's examination of the media and, get this, truth and the stories that shaped our world. He thinks he was spreading truth. God, the guy's delusional. He's so delusional. Wait till we get to the other stuff to show just how delusional this man was. It was a rare privilege to lead a weekly show focused on the press at a time when it has never been more consequential. Why is everybody using this term, Democrats nowadays, of consequential? You have Joe Biden leaning to the mic whispering, it's consequential. You got money back in your wallet. You have the power now. Like, why are we all spreading this word all of a sudden consequential? The only thing that's consequential is the damage that the Democrat Party and Joe Biden's doing to this country. That's the only thing that's consequential, but they're not going to talk about it on reliable sources. No. Their reliable sources is pushing all this fake January 6th stuff, just all this Russian hoax, misinformation, hubbub crap. Hunter Biden laptop's not real. Turns out it is real. Yada, yada, yada. CNN chief Chris Litch told Stelter of the decision Wednesday. NPR said, adding that Litch has been making cuts at the network as part of Warner Brothers Discovery's takeover of the old Time Warner company. The outlet said Stelter often touted the ratings of reliable sources on Twitter. Again, delusional. NPR added that investors, John Malone, a major financial stakeholder in the new Warner Discovery conglomerate, was among those who has criticized CNN for having become more politicized in the Trump years. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they got a ton of ratings. Trump basically kept them alive. There's a lot of talk that they were going under. The ratings were already sucking before Trump. Trump comes, ratings skyrocket, which is why they want him back. They'll pretend like they don't like the guy, but they need the man, right? They need him. It's like that one movie, what is it, A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. They need Trump. In fact, the outlet said that Stelter in February referred to Malone more than a dozen times amid coverage of the Discovery deal and expressed concern about Malone's influence on CNN. You should be concerned, man. Your ratings sucked. Nobody watched your show. You got a major financial stakeholder in the company looking at it going, man, this guy's freaking tanking us. We need to get the hell this guy off the freaking airwaves. So he knew it was coming. Stelter knew it was coming. CNN as a whole knew it was coming. Hell, I knew it was coming. I was just wondering why the hell it hadn't come sooner. NPR said Stelter got his start blogging about cable news as a student and later became a media reporter for the New York Times. I would be curious to see how much he has changed from the time he was a student till who he is now. People change over time. I hope I only changed to be, in a positive good, not necessarily a negative, kind of like Stelter was here. Hopefully I still stay a good person if this show ever takes off. Well, how bad has it been? Check this out, folks. Jesus, this is unbelievable. It's no secret that CNN has been struggling for a while. Besides the scandalous departures of former head Jeff Zucker and anchor Chris Cuomo and the embarrassingly fast demise of CNN Plus, the cable network hasn't exactly been a ratings juggernaut. Things were bad for Stelter too in that department. While it was pointed out in May of 2021 that Reliable Sources has suffered its lowest ratings of the year. Check this out. I can't even say this with a straight face. The show actually had better ratings when Stelter wasn't hosting it. And this is the guy that's pushing his ratings on Twitter when the dude wasn't even there and the show did better. It just says that his own viewers didn't like him. The CNN natural viewership didn't like Brian Stelter on his own show. Critics have often labeled Stelter a hall monitor for the media, and attacks against him, particularly for biased reporting, seemed to grow louder and more frequent over time. But it didn't seem to faze him. In February, Stelter ran some PR for CNN at the end of Reliable Sources show, defending it from critics who said the cable network was lacking journalism and dealt in opinions all the time. Instead, Stelter opined of critics that they're not watching CNN. So you have your own viewers. You have those that like CNN telling you, look, man, you're lacking journalism. Basically, you suck at your job. You need to switch things up. And he's going, well, you're not actually watching the show. You're not watching CNN. I mean, talk about a guy that's an idiot. Wouldn't you want feedback from your viewers? I'm not saying you're always going to cater to the viewers because at the end of the day, it is your show, but they're the ones that take interest in you. They're the ones that like you. So why don't you give them kind of what they want a little bit every now and then? I'm not saying all the time, but every now and then. Like there's stories you guys want me to cover. I get emails and stuff like that. I kind of pick and choose what we want to go with. Sometimes there's a theme of the show and everything. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I still read all of them. You know what I mean? I still try to talk to you guys when I can. I see the comments down there. I like to indulge every now and then, but he doesn't even do that. He treats his viewers like crap. Like what the heck? At least when you guys say some things outlandish sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't, but I still indulge with a nice laugh and giggle because I think it's really funny. Not in a bad way, and sometimes even in a good way. Some of you say some freaking outlandish things, let me tell you. Like things I actually can't comment back on. I'm like, Jesus, man, let's bring it down a little bit, brother. I know the energy, I know the rage is there because of what the Democrats and progressive left are doing, but damn, you need to calm down a little bit. But trust me, I read literally every single comment. Got an app on my phone. I scroll through. So just know I am there for all of you. Look, we're patriots. We're a community. And I really do mean this. Our community and what I want to build here on YouTube, I want to build a community that's better than the Daily Wire. I want to build a community that's better than the Blaze. Not saying company-wise, just where we can talk with one another and just see frequent faces. And we're already building that. There's a lot of you that comment on every episode. A lot of you are already interacting with one another in every episode, telling each other good morning. That's the type of community I want here of conservatives and Republicans because nobody does that. What YouTube channels telling each other good morning in the comments? Hey, how you been? How's life? How's your family? That's how conservatives should be talking to one another. That's how we used to do it back in the day on the founding, where we actually treated our neighbors, our brothers with respect, our fellow countrymen. We need to come back to that, and that's what I want here on the Bald Brad Show. I call you guys my friends for a reason. I've never met you before. I'm sure some of you are crazy. Heck, I'm a little crazy as well. But that doesn't mean we can't be nice to one another. We're patriots. We're Republicans. We're conservatives. We all want the best for this country. And that should be shown in the comments below. And I think we have that here at the Bald Brad Show, which is why if you want to hop on the bandwagon, hit that like and subscribe button, folks. If you haven't already, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now, speaking in some crazy news here, we've been covering this since day one. I mean, Joe Biden has been breaking records with illegal immigration since day one. Like since his first week in office when he's removing Trump policies. Did I ever think it would come to what we're about to report now? I'm not quite sure. I didn't think that it would still be breaking records every month, but what we got here, folks, has never happened in the history of the United States. U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced this week that the number of illegal aliens encountered at the U.S. Mexico border in 2022, will not only overshadow last year's record-breaking totals, but constitute the highest number on record. Joe Biden has done such a terrible job at the border. He's broken every record that is known at the U.S. Mexico border. So much so that he has broken the overall record for illegal immigration. It has never been seen at these numbers in the history of this country's founding. That's how bad things have gotten. It's just a challenge, folks. Don't worry about it. They got it covered. They'll call climate change a crisis, but they're not going to call this. Their own people. You just had Eric Adams of New York the other day call it a humanitarian crisis. Joe Biden still won't shuffle out his feet onto that podium and call it a crisis. In 2020, there were over 450,000 land border encounters. In 2021, that number skyrocketed to 1.7 million. Yes, let me read that to you again because it's morning, it's early. Sometimes we think, Brad, did you just say something wrong? Did you just maybe misspeak a little bit? No. In 2020, there was over 450,000. Okay, that number just a year later went to 1.7 million. Already this year, the total is reportedly 1.9 million. Already goes from 4,050. We'll say 460,000, to 1.7, and he's at 1.9 already in 2022. According to the Washington office on Latin America's Adam Isaacson, even if totals were skewed by repeat crossers, illegal aliens who had been picked up and expelled previously in the same fiscal year, this year's numbers would still break previous records. No matter how you measure it, he said, this will be the largest year ever. Meaning, there's nothing they can do to spin this thing. Like literally nothing. Because no matter how you jumble the numbers, every combination you look at, the man still broke United States history record here with illegal immigration. That's how bad it is. Can you imagine being a Border Patrol agent? I sure in hell couldn't. I couldn't imagine even living on the border. It just has to be sheer chaos. I've seen video footage, cell phone footage of the stuff that's going on there. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. 67% of illegal aliens encountered in July were single adults. Only 37% of illegal aliens met at the border were processed for expulsion under Title 42, whereas the remainder were processed under Title 8 and placed into removal proceedings. 66 illegal aliens listed in the terrorist screening database were among the CBP encountered this year at the border. Imagine the ones that weren't encountered, meaning the gotaways, the terrorists that got into the country. That's what we never talk about. We always talk about, and even we do it here at the Bald Brad Show, we talk about the ones that were actually caught and apprehended. Those are murderers, those are sex offenders, drug cartel, rapists, all sorts of stuff, terrorists. Remember, if those are the ones that are being caught at the border, there's also those that are making their way into the country, which means there are terrorists right now, cells in the United States that the government doesn't know anything about. There are murderers from the U.S. Mexico border. I'm not saying they're specifically from Mexico. They're from all over the place. They're just using that as a means to get here through the southern border. There are murders, sex traffickers, sex offenders, drug cartel, gang members, violent gang members. I mean, there is so much coming through the U.S. Mexico border. It's the job of the executive branch to protect its citizens and to, protect the borders. And Joe Biden's not doing it. Like, you have such an open border now. I mean, you might as well just call it open borders because that's what you have going on. When you have almost 2 million people already and it's not even freaking September yet. I mean, what are you doing then? Republican Representative Paul Gasser of Arizona responded to this recent CBP statistics claiming that the Biden regime has facilitated an invasion of the sovereign borders of more than 4.2 million illegal aliens since January 2021. 4.2 million since Biden's taken office. But hey, he's doing his job, you guys. What are you talking about? He's the greatest president that's ever existed. I mean, there are still people on TikTok and Twitter that are just in love with this guy. Amidst everything that's going wrong in this country, they're still all for it. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. That's what I try to do, is just jump into somebody else's head for a moment and go, how do you get there? How do you get to that thinking? Because there's common sense. Just because I'm a conservative Republican doesn't mean I'm not able to understand your side all the time. Voting for Joe Biden and still being on the guy's side is still mind-boggling to me. Like, it really, really is, because he hasn't done anything right. I mean, majority of the stuff he's done has been wrong. On August 8th, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it ended the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policy. This policy, officially known as the Migrant Protection Protocols, required asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for immigration hearings as opposed to permitting them to enter and remain in the United States unprocessed, or at least until processed. Basically, come on in. Hey, we'll give you an ankle bracelet. If the ankle bracelet doesn't work, we have cell phones for you. If you don't want a cell phone, just go ahead and sign this paperwork and make sure that you come back. That's basically what they did. And no, I'm not kidding. President Joe Biden indicated his intention to end the policy and took steps to do so beginning in January 2021. I mean, since this guy's taken office, he's literally done everything he possibly can to destroy the U.S. Mexico border. He has not put in a single thing that's actually helped it. I mean, other than, I should reframe that because that's actually not true. He did finish a specific section of the border wall. Arizona had to fix their gap. Texas is still fixing their gaps. But again, the executive branch doesn't want to do their job. They're just filling in a specific portion of it. Texas and Missouri sued the Biden administration in April 2021, if you remember, arguing that the cancellation of the policy violated immigration laws, and it would boost human trafficking and would burden American states with the cost of expenditures on resources expected by illegal aliens. But the Biden administration didn't want to listen, and they didn't get what they wanted here from Texas and Missouri. So now, what did Texas do? They're starting to bus illegal immigrants into Washington, D.C., as well as New York. And who's complaining about it? The Democrats. Washington, D.C., who is it? It's not Doug Ducey. I can't remember the name. Bowser, Bowser. I forgot the first name. And you also had Eric Adams of New York complaining and blaming Republicans for the situation because they can't handle, get this, New York can't handle 5,100 illegal aliens. But Texas is supposed to expect 6,000 to 14,000 depending on the day and the weather and the time every single day. New York, one of the biggest cities in America, can't handle 5,100 illegal immigrants. It tells you how bad Democrats run their areas. In a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court ruled on June 30th in Biden's favor, permitting his administration to rescind the program. And now we have this massive effect where Joe Biden's literally broken the United States history record on illegal immigration. Isn't that just freaking lovely? I mean, and just saying he's breaking it isn't doing justice. We're in August. It's August 19th. He is going to shatter this record by the end of the year. I don't think there'll ever be, and I hope there's never another president that will break this record, but I don't think there'll ever be a president that will ever break this record. Just remember, Democrats actually used to stop illegal immigration. They weren't for it. You look at freaking Bill Clinton's time, he was all for a border wall. He was all for stopping illegal immigration. And they say that we've gone further right. Look at everything they're doing. You're going to sit there and try to push and gaslight me and tell me that Democrats and progressive left have moved further center on things, and then you throw a number out like this on top of the crime, on top of the LGBTQ stuff that you're putting on kids, on top of all this abortion stuff that they're pushing. I mean, it's just a bunch of smoke, folks. It is crazy, and there's people that believe it. There's people that are all on board for it. It's nutso, it's wacko, it's batshit crazy. My slogan. With our last story of the day, we're going to keep it kind of short today, folks, because look, it's Friday. We got things going on. We want to have a nice weekend, and we got to get to Supernatural Saturdays here on the Bald Brad Show. If you haven't checked that out, folks, you got to. It's a fun time where we go over supernatural, the paranormal, the unexplained. We do reactions, all sorts of stuff. I have a good time doing it. Quite frankly, I freaking love it. I scared the crap out of myself. The other week, I don't know if you guys saw that video. I literally almost fell out of my chair. Like I almost fell backwards. If you watch in the slow motion, you'll see me teetering back and just grabbing my headphones. It's wild. If you haven't seen it, we're going to continue the series with Carmel, Maine. It's just a crazy paranormal hunt this guy's doing. So in our last story here, we have the Sacramento Unified School District has been pushing radical gender theory in its classrooms for at least a decade, according to documents. So some people, this is news. For me, I got my master's in 2013. Starting 2014, I already knew all this stuff was going on. So a lot of stuff that's described here, I had experienced myself in the public school system working in California. Okay, so you old folks here that have been around for a while know what I'm talking about. The documents obtained by writer and activist Christopher Rufo show the Sacramento Unified School District has been pushing teachers and school administrators to adopt the core tenets of radical gender theory since at least 2012. I had a buddy that went to Long Beach State that had this type of stuff pushed on him, and he teaches chem and physics, and they were trying to sit there and push gender theory even within chem, and he's like, how the hell do I do that? You want me to talk about lesbians and chemistry? So they've been pushing this stuff even before 2012. It's just being brought to light finally after a freaking decade. Training materials and presentations obtained by Rufo encourage LGBTQ teachers to openly express their sexuality while pushing straight teachers to self-discriminate, hiding their sexuality in favor of being an ally to LGBT teachers. The documents also encourage teachers to take similar steps to become allies of transgender students, as well as Rufo reported. Sacramento Unified had been working on this for a decade. This comes from a Twitter thread that actually showed the report within itself. In 2012, the district invited academic queer theorist Elizabeth Meyer to conduct a leadership presentation on how to launder queer pedagogy into the K-12 system and create sexual diversity. I've talked about this on my channel many of times where we had people brought in that talked about the transgender queer stuff. The school cytologists would bring trainers. I mean, we were given pamphlets, paperwork. We're all in the cafeteria staff. And I've always commented, and I always share this, that it was hilarious watching the science department, because I'm a mathematics teacher. We're watching the science department, like literally trying to like turn the papers upside down because they couldn't understand non-binary. They couldn't understand that there's multiple genders. They couldn't understand all this stuff. It was hilarious on that end. The trainings themselves just were miserable to go through. Look, I will treat students with the utmost respect. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in the classroom. I just want to do my job. I just want to teach them. That's all I care about, is that you get out of my class with a great grade and you had a good time, and that, you know, you thought I was a good teacher. I'm not there to make your life miserable. I'm not there to do anything. I love teaching. I love my job. I can't say that clear enough, because I know there's Democrat and leftists out there that go, this guy has a conservative show and you know, just imagine what he's saying in the classroom. No. I teach my math. I do my job, and that's it at the end of the day. And that's what I also want to talk about here is there's a lot of Democrats and stuff that get on TikTok and they say crazy things, and they're teachers. I still don't think that some of them should lose their job, because if you support that type of way of thinking, depending on what they say, right? But there's going to be people on the other side of the aisle that think that I should lose my job then as a teacher for the things that I say. Even though I think I actually am a good teacher. I think I do my job really well. I don't indoctrinate them with anything conservative or Republican ideas. The things that I say on the show, I do not talk about in the classroom. I teach strictly mathematics. I don't talk about gender. I don't talk about conservatism. I don't talk about politics unless we're in finance, where there's taxes that's going to hurt your pocketbook, or it's going to hurt you in some way, shape, or form for retirement or whatever it may be. Of course, there's certain ideas that get brought up in there, but for the most part, I don't talk about any of this stuff in the classroom. It's not appropriate. They're not my kids, like my actual biological kids. That's up to the parents to subscribe whatever morality and stuff they want on them. So I just want to make that clear, because I'm worried that one day I might lose my job, a job that I love. I love inculcating mathematical values in students and helping them, because I struggled with math. I struggled with math severely in high school. And so if I can help them become successful in mathematics, as well as finance, they can be millionaires later on in life, I've done my job. And by the way, millionaires, regardless of if somebody's trans, gay, black, white, Asian, I don't care who you are. I just want you to be successful. I want you to thrive in the greatest country God has ever made. But it's always that fear in the back of my mind that I'm going to lose my job one day because somebody's going to clip something I say. And all of a sudden people are going to be like, well, he must say that in the classroom too, because we sometimes do that with the Democrats and progressive left on TikTok and stuff who are saying all this queer gender theory stuff. Not all of them should be fired. If they're pushing on kids, then there's a conversation to be had there. But we can't always jump to say, hey, that person doesn't agree with me, so we should fire them. That I don't agree with. I don't subscribe to. I'm sorry. If you do, I guess that's your opinion. I don't always agree with it. But anyways, let's move on. Rufo also included photos of the Sacramento's Unified School District official website showing a presentation from Meyer, who at the time was a professor of education at California Polytechnic State University, as a keynote address for their No Time to Lose 2012 conference. The presentation included in the documents of Rufo attained. In the presentation, Meyer provides teachers with tools to inculcate schools with a LGBT-friendly environment. On an individual basis, Meyer instructs teachers to watch educational LGBT films and documentaries, or to attend an event sponsored by a local GLBT advocacy organization and invite a colleague to view the film or to attend the event with them. At a classroom level, Meyer encourages teachers to challenge your own assumptions about LGBT students, to use inclusive language such as parent or guardian or partner or spouse, and avoid gender-specific language and assumptions in class activities. Like I said, this has actually been going on probably around 2008, 2009, in the terms of these institutions, whether it be college or high school, trying to transition away from using gender. So what you're expected to use, and this is what I use in the public school system just so I didn't get in trouble, I would use the word everyone. So I would never say boy or girl or hey guys. I would just say everyone, just so I didn't get fired for hurting somebody's feelings or saying something, oh, you misgendered me or you mispronoun me. I say everyone. I try to call them by the name that they want just so I don't lose my job. It's crazy, folks. I mean, the education system is just completely crazy. A lot of you haven't been back to school in 10 plus years. It's nothing like you remember. Trust me. You sit in there for a day, you're going to be like, what the hell is going on? This is not what I remember. It's chaos. It is chaos. Furthermore, the presentation instructs straight teachers to self-discriminate. If you're a heterosexual, don't state it. It says, allow yourself to be an ally while allowing others to be uncertain about your sexual orientation. In other words, shut the hell up so we can run the show, so we can sit there and push our gender ideologies while you just zip it. Lovely. I mean, that's not what they're saying, right? But that's what they're implying. Meanwhile, it encourages LGBT teachers to openly express their sexuality. If you are GLBT, consider coming out to your employer. And if you get their support, your student/school, the presentation says. In either case, it encourages teachers to actively include issues relating to sexual orientation and gender identity in your classes, and to invite GLBT or LGBTQ. I think there's just an error here in the way that they're writing this, because I've never heard of GLBT. I've heard of LGBT, so I think there's just an error in this article. But this article also cites quotes, which is weird, right? Because if you have somebody that's pushing LGBTQ stuff, you would think that they know how to spell LGBTQ, but they're putting GLBT. Somebody help me with this. Unless they're just switching around acronyms, I can't keep up anymore. I mean, literally with all these pronouns, this gender ideology, things are changing. You literally can't keep up because it actually changes every day. One day you could say queer, the other day you can't. It's head spinning. It's mind blowing. At a school level, the presentation encourages teachers to confront name calling, or to stop and educate students in public areas such as hallways, cafeterias, bathrooms, and locker rooms. It also directs teachers to help establish a gay-straight alliance or other gender diversity groups in schools. We've actually talked about the GSA before. These are also the groups that will sit there and basically have certain group members of the club just invite their friends without their friends knowing what the club is about, and then start indoctrinating them with these values. There was a mom that came out on Fox News that said, yeah, my daughter was coming home. She started questioning her sexuality. We didn't know why. We couldn't figure it out. Well, it turns out she was part of this club and nobody knew. No, though the friend didn't even know what was going on. So the GSA that's all around is just completely doing some shady stuff sometimes. I mean, the whole thing in my mind, in my opinion, is shady. It's kind of odd, but they've done some really, in my opinion, done some harmful things to some kids. Like I said, basically grooming them, bringing them into these clubs without them knowing, and doing some other shenanigans. Lastly, furthermore, it directs teachers to work with students and other teachers to organize Day of Silence or a no name calling week, invite community members to work on the Safety and Equity Task Force Ask school librarians to create a display of books and resources on sex, gender, and sexual orientation, integrate sex and gender issues into their curricula, and invite outside presenters to speak on sexuality issues. Isn't that just lovely? Isn't that what you want your kids spending time on, folks? I mean, you can have these conversations with your own children, but no. They would rather have random strangers come on campus to inculcate certain values into your kid. I almost said students, into your kids, into your children that you might not want. That's just lovely. Because remember, the school system knows better, right? The teachers always know better than you do. Now, sometimes that is actually true, right? In mathematics, the way that certain things are ran, standards, and the way things should be taught, you would like to hope that the person that has a master's in teaching, or at least a master's in mathematics, or whatever it may be, would probably know how to teach your kids best. Not this stuff, though. This is weird. I mean, when you're teaching your somebody else's kid about sex and weird stuff like that, I'm just sorry, it's not my thing, which is why I'm gonna teach math, and I will stick to it. I ain't straying outside of that. No way, no how. With that being said, folks, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this Friday episode. We have Supernatural Saturday coming up tomorrow. We have a little sprinkling of politics on Sunday, and then we're going to be back here Monday with the Bald Brad Show. As always, hop on the bandwagon, hit that like and subscribe button. Throw some comments down below, folks. Help us out here. Let's have a little bit of fun. Tell each other good morning, and folks, have a lovely weekend. I will see you here tomorrow for Supernatural Saturday, and Monday for another episode of the Bald Brad Show.